All right, we're ready to start.
Okay, I call the meeting to order. Before I did that, I had my agenda in front of me. There it is. Did everybody have a chance to print an agenda?
Yes.
I read it, but I didn't print it.
Well, as long as you know what it says. I think that's close enough.
Okay.
I have no announcements. Does anyone else have announcements? Okay, then I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Scott.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the agenda is approved. Have you all had an opportunity to look at the May 11th minutes or the minutes from the May 11th meeting?
Yes.
Any
Yes.
commentary on the minutes? Any additions, corrections?
I move to approve the May 11th minutes.
Thank you, James.
I would happily second those.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. The minutes are approved. Before we go on to the public comment, I do have to ask Pam to include in the notes that Amy Blondin is excused from this meeting. I can't remember why she's not here, but she did email me ahead of time.
It's
and she
something
had a
her
valid
son,
reason.
yeah, something
Family.
about her son's upcoming graduation.
That's what I thought. I thought it was a graduation, but I didn't want to say because I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have no requests for public comment. Holly, John,
I did not have any either.
John, did the city receive any requests?
None that I'm aware of, and we do not have any public attendees right now.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to updates from Holly.
Okay, and I just do have updates since we did meet last month. And also I've been on vacation until May 31st and then promptly, had about 3 or 4 days in the building and then got sick. So I'm just going to share with you what we're kind of working on right now. Summer library program has started. It started June 1st. I encourage everyone to participate and attend. Sarah, make sure to tell your friends. It's good for everybody and you get free books. I can see her nodding from here. We encourage people to visit the library of their choice and swing by to pick up a bag, one for family, reading log, or to sign on and keep track of their reading through the app Beanstack, which we have a little handout with information on that. And to choose a free book when they sign up, and once they've completed 10 reading and literacy activities over the summer, to choose a second free book when they finish. Plus, kids 12 and under will also get coupons for free pass to either Point Defiant Sioux or Northwest Trek, and a free game at the Tacoma Rainiers. It's nice to have some of our sponsors coming back for summer library programs. So those are for the kids and we appreciate that. We are starting to move to a gradual return of in-person activities happening in the library. Over the summer, and it started right now, we have a variety of really cool take and makes that can still be picked up and taken home or worked on in the library at the patron's choice. These are craft activities for all ages, usually around a celebratory theme or an activity that will support STEM or early learning. We also have a scavenger hunt happening inside the library. It's a movement scavenger hunt. We encourage, and again, all ages can participate. We have a little prize box people can choose from if they finish it. It encourages people to look for different signage around the library and then do different exercise or yoga poses inside the building as part of their scavenger hunts, and talks about the important impact that has on reading and brain health. We are also starting to gear up our outreach for the summer, and it's nice to start getting back in the swing of that. Tomorrow, my adult services librarian supervisor, Blake, will be doing our first pop-up library at the food bank in Lacey. He will be showing up there in the morning with a laptop and a variety of handouts. He can sign people up for library cards. He can answer questions about services. He can tell people about summer library program, just going to show up and be there for people all morning. And we're hoping that this will give us an opportunity to maybe reach some folks who might have a harder time of getting to the library. Also, since the food bank is not that far away from our Hawks Prairie branch, Blake is also going to be promoting that pretty extensively in case there are folks in that area, Tanglewilde or around there, that haven't heard that we have a library over there now, that we would encourage them to visit. Right now, my youth services staff is conducting virtual school visits, promoting the summer library program and doing book talks and encouraging our kids to make sure they make time to visit us and pick up their free books and do their activities for the summer. And then we will also be doing pop-up libraries and story times at Play in the Park, which is partnering with the City of Lacey Parks program. We currently have a new story trail up. For those of you that aren't familiar, a story trail is outside signage with each page of a story that's a popular picture book that's in one of our parks or along a trail, so that folks can do a self-guided storytelling walk or tour. We call those story trails at Timberland. And we have ours in Lacey for this summer at the RAC, the Regional Athletic Complex here in town, and it will be up until the end of August. So we encourage folks to get a chance and get out there to check that out. And that is pretty much the stuff that we have happening right now. One thing I will share is that I've been in meetings. We still have some additional improvements and refreshes to do at the library this year that have been budgeted through Timberland. And we're looking at hopefully doing those in third quarter, depending on what kind of work needs to be done. We may have a few days of takeout only days, unless we can set it up so that we can have those parts of the library, which are a little farther flung. So we might not have to do quite as much as we did in the past, this past year. But we'll be installing new wall shelving for magazine collections and redoing the teen area space to add more room for teen comfortable seating and for additional young adult collection. And then a few other pieces of furniture and things to help promote our collection in the library. We've got a lot of neat things happening over there right now. And I hope if you've had a chance and are comfortable getting out and about and visiting public spaces, I hope you've had a chance to stick your head in there and see some of the neat things that we've been doing at Lacey to help continue to refresh it so that it looks engaging and new and cool, along with the one in the wonderful condition that our building is in. The city did a wonderful job of doing some fresh paint for us and helping to finish organizing Pam's
Sorry about
hat.
that.
And helping to finish, help us set up to revise our workroom. So we now have a bit more of an efficient setup. So that's been pretty neat. And that's all I have, I think. Any questions for anybody? From anyone? Yes, Scott.
Hey, Holly, are you thinking about outfitting the conference room in the library with like this type of setup so we could do meetings there, or so meetings could be done from there? Or are we always going to, is this new world going to be, we have a, something over at City Hall and then people can also join remote?
I still have not had just because of everything that's been going on, I'm definitely still interested to take a look to see what sort of equipment is required and what kind of setup is on there. Unfortunately, as John knows, I have not had a chance to connect with him to kind of look at all of the equipment that would be needed over there. But it's still on the table. It's definitely still on the table. Yeah.
Great.
Just
Thank you.
too many other things up and in the way, but I've got it on my list.
I understand.
Absolutely. We'll have it figured out by the next meeting. How about that? All right.
Holly,
Yes, Charlotte.
I'm just curious, the scavenger hunt that you have going on in the library right now, how long will
Yeah.
that be up?
Until the end of summer.
Okay.
So you'll have plenty of opportunities to get over there. And it's really fun to be working in the library and then come around a corner and see like a 10-year-old and their younger like 4 or 5-year-old sibling both attempting to do a yoga pose together. It's pretty neat. So we've been enjoying that. Those kind of passive programs where we don't have a large amount of people in a small space but have activities happening in the library are what we're focusing on, and doing that, and then outdoor activities and outreach in the summer. And then, at this point, we do plan on looking at bringing in-person programming of some type a little bit more actively in the fall,
I'm looking forward to
provided
that.
conditions allow.
Are there any more questions for Holly? Okay, thank you for those updates. James, did you have a question?
No, I think her presentation is very good as normal.
Thank you, James. You're very kind.
Okay, moving on to the budget. I think I was supposed to try to contact the president of the Friends and get a letter of support for the
It's
study room
okay.
project.
I did.
You did that, thank
I
goodness.
have good news. Yes, yes. No, I'm here for you, Charlotte. We're helping each other out because we're all, I know you're trying to get school wrapped up and everything. I'm very pleased to report that I reached out to John Grossum, the president of the Friends. I shared with him the draft cover letter, which per all of your recommendations last meeting, I included statistics on how often the room is in the last year, how often the room has been booked by groups of 4 or less. And I can pull that up and share that with you if you like. I did not send it around to everybody. I just sent it to Charla since we had agreed that we would make those changes, but I'm sure you might be interested. So I have that there. But John says that he would be very happy to write that letter of support. He really thinks that it would be a wonderful amenities to have at the library, because for the Friends as well, it allows for them to have the opportunity to book the room, to sort books and get into storage and things like that without, where perhaps a little bit more regularly, so that they're not having so that they don't, have a volunteer show up and then the room's booked by one person. And of course they don't want to bother that person. The Friends are very much in support, so they will be writing the letter. I did tell John, Charla, that end of the month would be okay. The budget date, I believe we got from the city as July 29th. So I thought if we, once we received that, that could be a good time to turn everything over. And I say we, but I mean you, Charla, if that sounds all right to you. Oh, you're muted, Charla. I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go.
That sounds wonderful. I have my draft of the letter prepared, but given the fact that you have a letter from John, I think I want to reference that in my
Yes.
document, so I will amend that.
Yeah, and John's usually pretty on. I mean, I said end of the month is fine, but honestly, once he gets a chance to just sort of chat with the other Friends officers over there to let him know what he's interested in doing and all of that, I wouldn't be surprised to see that come fairly quickly. He's very, very organized and on the spot with those things. And of course, we deeply appreciate all their support. He did sort of say, "Are you sure you don't need any money?" And I said, "Yes, you have given us so much the last few years. Please go ahead and take this opportunity." Sorry, my dog is barking. Please take this opportunity to continue to have book sales and rebuild finances for future projects. And so they will be doing that.
Okay. Did you want to share what you added to the memo that we got last time?
Yes. Let me just pull that up here. Apologies for not having this right away. Okay. There we go. Per really excellent suggestions from the last meeting. Let's see, there we go. I moved a few things around in the overview. And would you like me to read it? Or just share the information that I added? Charlotte, do you have a preference?
Whatever you think is best, Holly, is fine with me. Does somebody else have a?
Yeah, whatever's
like-
easiest, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd
well,
like to
hey,
hear
it's,
it.
it's short. I'll read it. You can let me know how it lands for you all. That's always nice. I have the cover memo. We'll have to amend the date at the top, Charlotte. I just noticed
Yes.
that on there. So the subject, building improvement request, Lacey Timberland Library. Background, the Lacey Timberland Library is considered the busiest library in the district, where community users regularly visit with library staff, meet with each other, use computers, and engage in normal library activities. The high use of the library reflects a bustling community space that could benefit from enclosed rooms where groups of 2 to 4 people and individuals can study or participate in online classes or meetings without bothering or being bothered by other users of the library. To illustrate this need, the library meeting room was booked for use 519 times between June 1st of 2021 and June 1st of 2022. Of those times, 271 bookings, or almost 46%, were booked by groups of 4 or fewer. So that's almost half of our meeting room bookings are booked by small groups or individuals. Study rooms have been a regular request by patrons in the library for the past 10 years. Our community has very few no-cost meeting spaces. As of now, the Lacey Library large meeting room, capacity 125, may be reserved for only one person because of the lack of smaller study room spaces. Approving this project would allow for more opportunity for larger group bookings in the meeting room. So that's our justification. And then I have the proposal with, again, very estimated cost. I know, James, you had some really good questions at the last meeting. I did not get a chance before our meeting today to get an amended quote from J.A. Morris, because we wondered if there was an extra charge in there. But I'm not 100% sure at this point if we need it to be perfect, because if the city does decide to go, and take and fund the whole project, they'll put it out to bid, and they'll have a much more exact and correct quote by the winning company. I mostly just wanted to try and get a rough idea of how much to ask for. Our estimated cost is showing up to $30,000. The proposal to the city is either that they choose to fund the whole thing and put the project out to bid if required, or the second proposal would be that they provide funding for permitting, electrical, and HVAC work, while Timberland Regional Library will handle project management, construction, and finishing costs in-house. And then it says, thank you for considering this request. And that has my name at the bottom, but Charla can add her extra cover things and all that good stuff too. How does that sound, folks?
Sounds good. Yeah, that's surprising, those stats.
I know, right? I was originally going to look because I thought pre-pandemic, I should look at that. But then I realized, no, I have a year's worth of stats right now.
Yeah.
And it's better to put something that's more recent, not for our world, looks different now in this trying to become post-pandemic area that we have. And I was able to pull that data up pretty easily because I have software that tracks the meeting room and the number of folks who are expected to be there when it's booked. And yeah, it's almost half is just small groups of less than four or less people. So it's not a whole lot of, and there's that other part too, where we may see more large group bookings in the future as things hopefully, get healthier out in the community level. But right now, the priorities for a lot of bookings are small groups, small numbers of people. So, and several times when I was looking through, I don't have the exact when it was just one, but it was a significant number when it was just 1 or 2 people, or somebody that just needed a private space to do an online interview, or again, do a telework meeting or something, and they didn't have that where they were at. Meeting rooms would work wonderfully for this. Or study rooms, excuse me.
Well, on top of which it'll be 2 small rooms instead of tying up one large room.
Exactly.
So when you look at it, if you had 40% of tying up one large room by 1 or 2 or 3 people, now you're going to be able to in turn spread it out, and you'll be able to get maybe more people involved with being able to come in and do.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm hoping that it's for, I mean, it's still a lot of money because anything that is more than 5 digits is a lot of money. But, in terms of the normal construction costs, it seems like a small-ish investment for a really potentially big community benefit in terms of
Mhm.
providing meeting space that is free and always will be free at the library.
Yeah, that should be a very, very big benefit for the city, because there is, my wife and I were driving around and we were looking at different places as to what it is, because she's considering some volunteering work with some group and with the ladies, what do you call it? The ladies journal or whatever. I don't know.
Sure.
Anyway, she's looking at, and there's not a lot available out there.
No, it's really, we're just, we just don't have, that's just not an amenity we have an overabundance of in our community. And this is a need that the library would be very happy to help fill. So, yeah. So any questions about that? General plan provided that this would be, I believe, what we've done in the past, Charla, is we've, if there's no more discussions or questions and everybody is good, when the board feels, that they have enough information to make a recommendation, I believe we would do a vote of board members to go ahead and forward the recommendation to the city. And then you and I would work on the logistics and make sure that we get everything sent over to them by the due date, which that way we don't have to meet again before, summer, because the rest of summer is likely to be pretty busy for everybody.
Mhm.
Does that sound
Yeah.
about right?
That
for
was my
everyone?
understanding also.
Do you need that recommendation from us today, or
The approval to
Is it
forward
far
the
enough
recommendation on to the to either act, because if you support the recommendation, then we will submit it. If you don't, then obviously we would not submit it to the library. We'd have to talk more about what would look better. But if you're all in support, I think that would be the vote that we need. Does that sound right, Charla?
That sounds right. Can we just do a show of hands to show who is in support of the request as it now stands? Okay, I think that's everybody. Did anybody see a board member without their hand up?
All the board members visible, including Sarah in the far corner, had their hand up. Thank you all. That's just really wonderful. So yeah, that way we can at least pass it forward to the city's hands, and then we'll see what they have to say about it.
We've expressed our support, so I think it's appropriate now that somebody move to that we forward the request to the city with our letter of endorsement.
I will make that motion.
And I'll second it.
I will second
Thank
it.
you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the vote is 2-1 in favor.
I think James said aye, but I don't,
I think
James,
there was
could
a
you-
little lag there, Charla.
yeah.
James, could you repeat your vote?
Aye.
Thank you, James. I
we're good.
misheard the first time, so
Yeah.
it passes unanimously.
Yay!
Yay,
Thanks,
look at Holly's
everybody.
smile. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, thank you. I'm just excited to be asking for this. If I just a minute, Charla, can I have just a minute more in this area to share something with you all?
Absolutely.
So I've been working here. This is, as you know, this is my 10th year here. And I'm done with my first third of my career at Timberland. I have another 19 years to continue here. But I want to tell you all, like I said, asking this particular request, if we can get study rooms in the library, now that Hawks Prairie is open as well, every single thing on my wish list that I had when I joined this organization in 2012 will have been fulfilled. And now I will have to spend the next 20 years figuring out new things to want.
You have to make a new list.
Yes, I'll have to make a new list. But But I have to tell you, for those of you that work in schools or government or things like that, it is not unusual if you are the manager of a facility to wait decades, plural, to have all of the facility improvements and things you'd like to see achieved. And
Mhm.
so the fact that this has all happened in 10 short years is just blowing my mind. I'm sitting here with my mind blown for you all. So, and thank you for being a part of that and supporting this. This is very exciting. I hope they go for it.
I used to work at Fort Lewis and I managed the budget, but we had, facilities, lots of, and, the list of wants was pages and pages and pages. So, like what you said, Holly, within 10 years, that's miraculous. It shows
really is.
tenacity working through it though, too.
Yeah. Such a supportive community, such an amazing city to work with. I'm just very grateful to be here and be working with you all and with our city and our community to make the library awesome, or more awesome.
How about more awesome?
Yes, more awesome, I think is the proper. I ought to know that, being a librarian.
You're a librarian, not an English teacher. I think you express yourself very well.
May I ask a question? Is the city council having open meetings now where they've got attendance?
I believe
Does
so. I believe that's
anybody-
because they're doing it. That's why we have to have an in-person component to our meetings.
Yeah, I think so, John. Is that right?
Yes, the city council is meeting in a hybrid format and have been since, I want to say, the beginning of April. I believe April was the first meeting.
Okay.
But you can attend either in person or remotely to any city meeting.
So we can now come to attend the city meetings in person and instead of having to Zoom and all
That's
the rest
correct.
of trying to get through.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah, and then we'll look into that for this group, James. I will look at, while the city has been so kind to graciously host us for these last 2 meetings so we can get this work done here. I am interested in working with John, John Cook here, for what kind of equipment might be needed to be able to do it in the for recording and access and all of those sorts of things in the library meeting room as opposed to the city council each time. So that is still a possibility for our next meeting. I just need to set up a time with John to come over and look at the tech requirements and then see if it's something that we can replicate over at the library. Yep.
Yeah, I just felt that at the time that this is going to be presented to the city, if it's going to be presented in a public meeting, I would definitely like to be there so that I can in turn be available if there's questions or whatever else. And I'm sure you're going to be there.
Yeah.
So that being the case, I would like to be there just to support and be, available for support of the presentation.
What we typically do, we are in this area, we're considered, the board's recommendations for budget requests are pretty similar to other city departments. So we just normally send a letter over to the city as opposed to a formal presentation. However, those issues and things get discussed as part of the city's budget hearings, which, as I recall, usually happy, and I'm going to ask John Cook to jump in here again, October-ish. Is that correct?
Generally, I believe the budget is voted on in October, so it could
September then.
Could be late September. We will usually have 2 or 3, at least 2 meetings of public hearings on the proposed budget. So, city manager will present the budget. Probably in October, and then they will hold public hearings on that and then make a decision, usually I think in December.
Yeah, and I usually do try and attend at least one of the budget public hearings and would welcome any other board members that might wish to, if case again there's an opportunity to provide support or an exclamation or anything along those lines. But the July 29th deadline is just when city departments of which we are sort of a quasi for this particular meeting, or when we have to get the budget request paperwork turned in. So that's what we're doing at this point, is just turning in the paperwork. Does that make
So
sense?
it's not a public presentation.
It is not.
Such that
Yeah.
that it's a presentation with discussion with a contact
As part of the
do we
overall
accept it or
budget.
don't?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct. Which I should mention that I love. I would much rather have it be, that way, to be discussed as part of the overall budget, as part of the city. It is, even though we are a wonderful partner where the city owns the facility and we provide the, the services inside, being able, and this is just kind of some of this back of the house bureaucracy, government, the way government kind of works for those sorts of things. I would rather be considered as part of the legitimate entity that can do these budget requests just like any other city department. I'd rather be sort of lumped in that way in the overall budget than doing like a special one-time request here or there or somewhere else. It makes me feel, and the library feel, more part of the city's workings. And it also makes me feel like the city prioritizes us. We don't have to, it's not something where we have to come pleading for money, please do us. The city just we're one of their facility buildings. They take care of us. And when we have improvements we want to make, we ask and we do the research to recommendation, just like any other city department. And I really appreciate that approach.
Okay.
We ready to move on? Okay. I'd like to ask you to take a look at your calendars and let's plan our next meeting date. I don't think we typically meet during the summer, do we? So I'm thinking September 7th, unless someone has a reason why we need to meet before then or why we can't meet on the 7th.
Is that like right after school starts?
That would be the first day of school for North
That's
Thurston
a-
Public Schools.
That's
Oh,
the first day of school. Yeah.
Just a quick question, Charla. Do we want to keep to the normal second Wednesday of the month?
I had it in my head, it was the first Wednesday. So I would love it if we would keep to the second Wednesday because that would move it away from the first day of school.
Yes, and I think that might be better. Let me just pull, I lost my Outlook. Sorry, let me find it again. There we go. Yeah. So that would have us on the 14th.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that means I'll be back from Ireland so I could take notes.
Yeah. Well, there we go. It's got to be the
Yeah, just a
14th.
special little private one on the 7th so that you can share all your pictures and experiences with us.
Whereabouts in Ireland are you
Practical or
going?
social.
I'm doing a tour of Ireland and Scotland, so just kind of all over the country. I've been there. It's been about 15 years since I've been there, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh,
That's
That's so
exciting.
exciting. Well, and
Yeah.
one of the things that, how would it be, Charla, I will make a priority to definitely before the 1st of August. I'm just going to give myself some time there, but to get together with John to discuss and go over the requirements, and he sent me some good documentation. We just need to meet and talk about it, about what's needed to do the hosting at the library. And if it all looks, and then we can share out to the membership, well prior to the meeting in the month of August, where it'll be, if it's going to be either in the council chambers or here.
I think that
It
sounds
might
like a
not be
great
a
plan.
bad idea. We could always ask to reserve the council chambers if it's available now, and then cancel the reservation in a month or so. John, do you think that'd be a good idea? I'm sorry, I keep leaning on you all tonight. John's just so good.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at the calendar right now. That should be
Okay.
fine.
September 14th. Yeah, go ahead and book it at City Council for us, or at council chambers. Because again, if everything looks good, we can cancel that pretty easy.
Yep,
And
no
I'm going to
problem.
book the meeting room for the same reason.
Is there
I'd be
anything else?
happy with the 14th.
Great.
You'd be happy with the 14th? Okay. Scott, 14th okay with you?
And it's
Yep, all good.
Sarah? Thank you. And I think Pam, you said you'd be back, so
I'll be back, yes.
sounds good for you.
Mhm.
Is there anything
If
else
I
for the
could
good of
al-
the order? I'm sorry, James,
If
go
I
ahead.
could, if I could offer Pam a suggestion,
What's that?
when you get over to Ireland,
Uh-huh.
stop over to the city of Cork. It's the origination of a lot of the migration from Ireland over to the United States. And you can walk down the street, and I think every third or fourth sign has Murray something on it. My
Well,
my family originates from there.
so does mine. My great grandparents immigrated in the early 1900s from County Cork.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
My great grandfather was originally O'Sullivan, and when he came through Ellis Island, they dropped the O to make it sound more American.
Oh.
Is there anything else for the good of the order? Okay, do we want to go around real quick and say what everybody's been reading? Holly, would you like to start?
Sure. Am I unmuted? Yes, I am. What have I been reading? I have been reading. I've still been reading I've been rereading the Emperor's Wolves sci-fi Chronicles of Elantra series, the spin-off series by Michelle Segara. She's just like comfort reading for now. I don't know why I love her series and characters so much, but I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of a prequel set of 2 books that I just finished the second one. And her newest book is coming out in November, and I'm just rereading all of her books. I think she has like 20 until the new book comes out. I'm that excited. So that's pretty much all I'm reading for the next several months, is just Chronicles of Elantra over and over and over again.
Excellent. Sarah?
I'm currently still reading Farewell to Arms, but I'm planning on reading or just starting like the Hunger Games series.
Fun.
That's a good series.
So, Sarah, can I ask, what do you think of Ernest Hemingway?
I think his style is certainly interesting. Maybe a little boring.
That is a very gentle analysis of Mr. Hemingway, I believe.
Yeah.
James, how about you?
I just bought about 4 weeks ago. I bought a Nook at Barnes and Noble. So I've started on my first 300 books that I've got transferred over and so I'm starting on my Lee Child's organization with all of his books, and then in paperback I'm reading the political consequences of the use of economics, and I'm taking a class at the senior center on economics and going through the comparison between Marx and Smith and all of the different economics people since the 1800s that have been presenting, and which political groups have enforced which portion of those economic bases. So I'm about, let's see, I've got 2 more meetings to go.
Okay. That sounds, I don't think I could manage that. That sounds intimidating to me. I'm impressed. Okay, I'm sitting in my computer clicking on Scott's picture and he's not talking to us. I'm wondering why. Scott.
I couldn't see you clicking on me, so I apologize.
Sorry.
For that. Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of heavy reading at work on reports. So I decided to reread one of my favorite books, which is Terry Brooks' Sword of Shannara. So just kind of some light fantasy reading going on.
Pam?
I actually just started reading a book called Robert E. Lee and Me. It's a interesting book about the Civil War, and of course, Robert E. Lee and some of the other issues unresolved during the Civil War, besides slavery and some issues that still, are prevalent in our society today. And so it's interesting. It was recommended to a friend of mine who is a avid Civil War buff. So it's makes very interesting reading.
Excellent. John, I'd like to offer you an opportunity to put your 2 cents worth in.
I've been reading what was the last one that I was reading? I've got I think I'm between books right now. I'm just waiting to start a new Charles Stross kind of Laundry Files spinoff. And I forget the title right now, but
I can sympathize with that. Okay. And I am mostly reading right now summaries of middle grade literature, because this is the time of year when the elementary school librarians choose the reading list for Battle of the Books for the coming year. So for the last year, there's been a spreadsheet available to them, a Google sheet, where they make suggestions of the books that they think would suit our program. And we're coming up on the presentation where we talk about all of them. So I know that Holly is sending Carrie from the public library to come talk to us, and I appreciate that very much. But other than that, I kind of feel obligated to have a little bit to say about each of the books, and there are currently 51 on the list. So it's rather intimidating, but I'm very happy to report that about 8 of them are books that we've read in previous years. So I have a head start. Well, thank you everybody for your time tonight. I think what we accomplished was really exciting. I would love to see the city support Holly's request for these rooms.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I believe we can adjourn.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you after the summer.
Yeah. Have a good summer, everybody.
Everyone.
Take care, everybody.